Shalom and welcome again. We sort of had a false start. I was so focused on the article I was writing on the first of the two Torah portions we're reading the Shabbat that my focus in this podcast is going to be on the second one, on the Torah portion of MAASEI. Torah portion of MAASEI has a whole focus on that whole journey of Israel from Egypt, coming out of Egypt, arriving to where they need to arrive to. And it seems to be so much detail, so much unimportant information. What's going on and what can we learn from it? So let's go back to our own lives. Our lives before the coronavirus hit us was really like a mad rush to get somewhere. We were all chasing something, but we didn't really know what it was we were chasing. We didn't know where the where is that we were trying to head to. But the focus was to get there, to run, to rush ahead. Coronavirus definitely put a stop to that. And the second thing that has confused mankind for a very long time is the whole concept of time. If you go to the Greek Hellenistic view of time, time is like a river that rushes forward from A to B to C. It just keeps rushing by us and we're moving ahead. And because of that, two important failures have occurred in our walk in life. The first is that when time is rushing forward, what was stays in the past. It's not important. It's not relevant. The lessons of what we learned in the past are forgotten. The wisdom of people who came before us, our elders, those that have words to say that were critical in our own families, forgetting the philosophical reality of the world. In our own families, the wisdom of those that came before us is considered quaint, but not passionate, not interesting. And what becomes more important is the politically correct reality of today, not what was, because time's past us. We're ahead, we're modern, we're with it, we're where. The second is that what has yet to come hasn't occurred, so you can't measure it, you can't understand it, you can't explore what will be, because it hasn't happened yet. It's important to focus on the here and now, and by so doing, we end up coming up with simplified solutions that totally ignore the complexities of who we are as people, who our relationship with God, its complexities, and we simply are looking for, what can I do? What little thing I can do? What little thing can I believe in that will just give me surety about something I don't know anything about? And once you do that, then suddenly vision, hope loses its flavor, because what is vision and hope going to help me today in my here and now? What was, that's unimportant. What will be, who knows? But I got to focus on the here and now, and we miss out on the important things in life. And in the Torah portion, we read the following. Let me read it to you in English. These are the journeys of the children of Israel who left the land of Egypt. We're talking about Numbers 33, verse 21. These are the journeys of the children of Israel who left the land of Egypt in their legions under the charge of Moshe and Aaron. Moshe recorded Motzaehem leMaaseim, their starting points to their journeys, according to the words of Hashem, and these were their journeys to their starting points. Masaem leMotzaeim. The incredible detail that God puts in here of every place they stopped at, everywhere they went, how long they stood there. Why would God, who in his infinite wisdom gave us his word to study, spend time on talking about a historical fact, where they went, how they went, when they got up, when they moved to the next thing? Why would that be important? Obviously, God is trying to teach us something. The Baal Shem Tov actually teaches us that if you looked at the 42 encampments from Egypt to the Promised Land, you'll find that they're actually replayed in our own lives. 42 different steps, points of rest, points of movement in our own lives as we start from birth and when we end up returning to our source. And then we notice something else. These are the journeys of children who left the land of Egypt, and then recorded from their starting points to their journeys, Motzeim to Maseim, and these are their journeys to their starting points, from their journey to the starting point. Why do we read that repetition, and why is the order mixed? So, first one really teaches us that one can't walk a journey if you don't explore where you started from their starting point. If we don't learn lessons from our past, we don't learn lessons from our mistakes. Meaning, you can't go on a journey if you don't know you haven't been equipped with what it is you've learned in your lives. Never, ever spit in the wells you drank from. You needed to be there. You needed to drink of that well. So there are things that you now know that you wouldn't have done had you known them, but you were there. You needed it at that time. What can you glean from that? What sparks can you raise from that? So the reality is that if we don't have that memory, we can't move forward. Back to the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov also says that forgetting is the beginning of exile, and remembering is the beginning of redemption. Exile in the spiritual Jewish understanding is losing our sense of self, our sense of purpose, our sense of destiny. Redemption comes when we re-find our inner meaning, when we rediscover our purpose, when we are empowered to go further. So as opposed to the Hellenistic view of time moving forward, the Jewish world actually sees almost a cyclical, not a line, but a cycle, a spiral going up. In fact, even every holiday has been misunderstood in the Greek understanding. When we celebrate Passover, we're not celebrating something that happened then. We're doing that too, but that's not the focus. When we celebrate Sukkot, we're not celebrating what happened when we sat on booths in the desert. We're actually reliving it. In Hebrew, the Bible calls it Mikra'e Kodesh, a calling out of holiness. Meaning, when we go through that spiral, going to our higher purpose, every time we enter a gate, and that gate is called the gate of Passover, or the gate of Sukkot. And when we enter that, we're empowered again. We refind, we recall that spark of holiness that gave us the power to redeem ourselves from the slaveries in our lives. The word for Egypt, actually, interesting enough, is Mitzrayim, which comes from the word Mitzarim, meaning Egypt was a place that imprisoned us. And each one of our lives, each one of us in our lives knows of the things that hold us back, that hold us in, that imprison us. And so when we enter through that spiral moving forward, we regain that courage to re-experience that exodus. We regain that courage to sit in a booth, to remember what was, yeah, but also to know, you know what it's like to sit in a booth out there in where the wind and the rain might come? It means learning how to trust again. So everything is about reminding and reliving. In fact, the word for time in Hebrew, zman, is the same word as invitation, zimun, meaning time invites us forward. Time wants us to move forward. Time invites us for a moed, for an appointed time to meet. So we need to know not only where we came from, we need to know where we're going. And that's why it says the journeys to the starting points. Even the journey needs to go to a starting point. So you're going, really, journey to the end point? No. Everywhere we end up is another starting point. This journey from our finite reality to the infinite understanding is a never-ending journey. And every time we reach a place of rest, that's another starting point for the next one. So the way to live our lives is to know that we need to know where we come from. We need to gain the interest, the experience, the messages, bring that forward, and then move to the next starting point. That's how we're supposed to live this life, knowing that there is no end, there is no achieving, there is no simple solutions. There is no 60 minutes till we get to the solution without commercials. It's a constant journey. So those two reference points are critical. In fact, we see it in this when Jacob is gathering his children, when he was on his last hours on this earth. He says to them, gather and I will tell you what will happen to you at the end of days. Genesis 49:1. But he doesn't tell them anything. He gives them blessings. They're powerful blessings. They're permanent and eternal blessings. That's true. But he doesn't say, gather, I will tell you what will happen to you at the end of the day. So our sages try to figure what happened. So some of them said he wanted to reveal and God hid it from him. The second one asked the question, well, what's the good of telling him that in thousands of years you're going to finally find the final redemption? Or in X amount of years you're going to be redeemed out of Egypt, you're going to come into exile. Why would that help them? They don't make it in the present. It isn't going to be in their lifetime. And so the reality is, the Sfat Emet writes, maybe Jacob was saying, I want you to know there is an end of days. Not what will happen, just know that there is a purpose in this walk. When we walk a walk knowing where we came from, actually respecting where we came from, not hating it, not saying, I was told a lie, I was told, yeah, you may have been, because people just didn't know, but there's something in that whole experience that you need to grab onto, take it with you on your voyage, and in that voyage, move forward to the next starting point, because the next starting point is another starting point for the next part of your life, the next part of your journey. And in that next time of your journey, you will get to the point where you will achieve an awareness that there is a purpose to all this, to your life, to the existence of this world, to be God's language in this world, and to find purpose and meaning in our own lives. So all the best to you. We will speak again, God willing, either this week or next week. No idea how this will work. Time keeps becoming another starting point for us. You can pick this up again, I hope, soon on our YouTube channel, or go to our website, www.shorshimshop.com, and Bezrat Hashem, we hope to come up with some new concepts and new ideas of how to be in touch and how to learn together, perhaps in some type of study hall that we can arrange on Zoom. I'm not sure how that'll work, but thank you for being with us, and lehitraot until the next time. And thank you for those of you that are watching now, and I welcome all those who will be watching in the future on the recorded session, and lehitraot shalom.